So the next question was from him was for local business style directory sites, instead of setting up a single directory with all cities and all services, perhaps with silos, I guess, by city, then service, or service, then city, or alternatively setting up lots of directories, each for a single city and single service. I wanted to know both if it's possible and if there's any advantage to using a URL arrangement along the lines of, okay, I'm not going to try to read out all those different potential domain configurations, but I would not recommend that at all. You're talking about like 2 levels of subdomains before you get to the root domain. And then you're going to have silos on that, directories, categories. And like, that's way too long, too much. It's going to be super complicated to build. It's going to probably not index well. I don't know, because I've not ever attempted something with like what you're describing here. But it's just way overcomplicated right from the beginning. Don't do that. What I'm saying is what I would recommend is, first of all, go with kind of niche specific directories or city specific directories if they're going to be general directories. The reason I say that is because if you try to go with just kind of like a broad business directory that covers all different types of industries and all different types of locations, you're going to be competing against like the really, really big directory sites. It's going to be very difficult to ever get any traction that way. However, if you do a industry specific directory that it can cover the entire country, whatever, could go, I'm assuming you're going to stay within one nation, right? So one country. I found through my own directory building, a niche specific directory, that one gets traction so much easier than trying to do something that's general. Likewise, if you wanted to target on a city directory, you're going to get more traction because everything is relevant and localized to that particular city. It's going to be easier to get results from a localized city business directory, even for general businesses, right? So meaning you'll take any sort of businesses that want to be part of that directory. You'll get better traction from that on a local level because it's locally, everything on that directory will be relevant to that location. Does that make sense? So what I'm trying to get at is you have to figure out like how can you enter into a space with your directory site and get authority, build authority quickly, where you're not competing against other super high authority sites. Like, for example, Yelp is a general business directory, right? So is Yellow Pages and Angie and Home Advisor and all those kind of things, right? So it's difficult to build a contractor directory in my case, right? That would would just cover any sort of home service contractors across the entire nation. It would be very unlikely for me to get traction anytime soon. It would take a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of optimization and authority building in order to compete with those. However, I built a very specific niche specific directory that has gained a lot of traction. And I just started it really in January, probably February, before I really started indexing anything. So it's only been about 6 or 7 months and I've got a lot of traffic and a lot, it's ranking well is what I'm saying. So, and you can do that on, like I said, on a local basis as well, as where you can be a general business directory, which will cover all sorts of business and industries. But because it's a localized directory, everything is relevant to that specific location, you're going to have a better chance, right? And so my point is, the way I look at it is, if you're going to go through the trouble of building a directory, you're going to want to get results quickly, because that's how you're going to be able to monetize it sooner than later, without putting a shit ton of effort in it forever before you ever get any traction. So I would recommend that you keep it simple. I don't recommend building a whole bunch of subdomains, because then you have a whole bunch of sites to manage. That's a pain in the ass. Keep it simple. Do it on either one niche industry specific directory that you can go national with, or however wide a region or area you want, or go with a location specific directory that is specific to that one particular location. If that makes sense. That's kind of how I would do it. That's what I would recommend, only because I've been building a directory myself. Any comments on that one?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's the example that we've given before. Are you going to take on Amazon? Because if you are, you need the budget and you need the time and you need a team. You need multi-million-dollar in budget. You can't get away with $150 a month. You can't do that. But how do we then go after Amazon? how can we win against Amazon? We can go in a vertical, we can go in a niche, we can go into even a sub niche and niche down. Bradley calls that niching down in that one specific spot in Amazon and get after that, because it's a lot easier to go after that sub niche than it is to go after the Amazon brand. Just like it is a lot simpler to go after something at the city level or at the local level or even at the suburb level if you're working locally. It's much easier than to go after that big city. I know, because I go after the big cities. I go after LA, New York, and Chicago. Next up, some cities in Texas. But I'm going after those, and there's a lot of effort involved. You better have the team. You better have the team in place and the processes and the systems, and everybody needs to know exactly what they need to do and when and how it gets mashed for the best results, or else you're stuck a year and a half down the line and you still don't have anything. It doesn't make sense. If you're going to do it, then find, as Bradley said, find that niche, find that place where you can get in, but do it with a brand. Don't do it with something where you get stuck with an EMD. Think about this long term, where you can add, then once you find that niche, that hot niche, you can expand to other cities, other places, or other sub niches that are relevant. Eventually you'll build enough trust and authority and relevance so that it'll get easier to rank as you go on. But when you're starting out the way that you're mentioning it, you're making your life impossible. You're talking about, I see that at least 2, 4, 6, 8 subdomains. No, because you have to manage each one of those.
Yeah.
No,
It's way too complicated.
no, yeah, I agree.
And his follow-up to that was from basically, is there any value to this idea approach? Please feel free to let me know if I'm an idiot and if it's a harebrained scheme. I'm not going to go so far as to call you an idiot, Arby. That's why you come ask these questions, and that's what we're here for. But I would tell you, that's not something I would ever encourage anybody to do. I've said this many times over the years because I've done it myself. Even in the past couple of years, I was attempting some site builds with some overcomplicated methods that just don't work, and they end up causing, even if they do work, it becomes so complex trying to maintain them. And it's just, keep it simple, stupid. Like, I'm not calling you stupid. That's just the saying, right? Keep it simple, stupid. KISS, right? KISS. And I found that to be the case. Try to figure out a way to simplify the build, which will make it easier to manage. But try to look for ways to get traction with the build quicker, right? Because the sooner you get traction, the sooner you can monetize it. And when you start having revenue come in, you can scale, right? Because you can outsource stuff, you can, buy, additional assets to build, you can buy links, you can do all kinds of stuff that with revenue. It makes everything easier when you've got the funding to do it, the capital to do it.
Yeah.
But you need to have some traction and monetize your effort first in order to have that kind of capital, unless you're just independently wealthy and you're just looking for something to dump money into, in which case PM me. and I'm happy to find some use for your money. Okay.
Right.